Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Canadian Coach. And today I have the great pleasure of interviewing and introducing you to one of our amazing expert Canadian Coach members, Sherri-Lee Woycik. Welcome, Sherri-Lee. Okay, so we have to give the little story about your little rant on Facebook.
It wasn't intended to be a rant.
Okay, it wasn't a rant, but
okay.
But I totally get it, and I mean, it's your name. Of course you want it.
So it came about, hi, and thank you. I'm happy to be here, but it came about because when I was in high school, I didn't want to be called Sherri-Lee. I wanted to be called Sherri all the time, right? Because I was way cooler than Sherri-Lee. And so I started going by Sherri. So all people from high school still call me Sherri. And then one night, my friend called my house and asked for me. My dad answered the phone, and she asked for Sherri. And he said, "There's no one here by that name," and he hung up.
No way! Seriously?
And he turned and looked at me and said, "If we wanted to call you Sherri, that's what it would be on your birth certificate." Whoa. And I still went, okay, I still didn't do it, but he had a huge impact in my life. He was so important to me. He's been gone for a number of years now. And as I got closer to adulthood, Sherri didn't sound the way I wanted to sound. So I started going by SherriLee. So it's been hard to get some of the people who know me as Sherri to call me SherriLee. But I always figured new people would meet me and it's hyphenated. Right. And I always say SherriLee, and I just assumed it would go. But that post on Facebook came about because I'd been talking to somebody in a Facebook chat, right, in Messenger, and they tagged me. So it came up with SherriLee Woycik as the tag. Right. And then they, in the next sentence, called me Sherri. And I went, wait a minute, like, you can't get rid of the Lee if you backspace out, right? And this is kind of an ongoing thing for me. It's about my identity, and it's about who I am. My name is who I am. My sister also has a double-barreled name. Her name is Shirley Ann. So it was a nightmare in our house, right? I mean, my mom didn't even get it right very often. But it's who I am. And so I just went to my profile and I just posted, my name is Sherri-Lee, not Sherri. That's all. But I can't believe it. I had like 70 comments of people going, all the time, people change my name up, and it's become a real point of respect for me, right? Like if I see somebody's name is Susan on their profile, I will always refer to them as Susan until they say, "Oh no, I prefer Susie." Then I'll shorten it for you. But so anyways, that's where it came about. SherriLee is my preferred, and I have gotten to the point, it's been a years that I've been working on it, but now I will say, my name is Sherri-Lee, not Sherri, to correct somebody, because just say, this is, right? I don't change your name. Don't change my name.
Right. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad we have that. And okay, so now we can talk about all the other cool stuff that we're here for, which is, tell me about your story, your coaching story. How did you become a coach, and what all are you doing now with that?
Well, yeah, I never thought or intended that I would become a coach of any kind.
Like pretty much all of us.
Right? And yet, I think we all do it naturally, and it sort of has grown, right? But so I'd never even worked for myself up until 2011. And I started my business as out of desperation, purely. I'd been married for 14 years. I had 2 kids. We were homeschooling, and I took my kids out one day to swimming and science class. And while we were out, my husband called me and said, "I've changed the locks on the house. Don't bother coming home. There's lots of hotels locally." And he hung up, and that was the last communication we ever had.
Whoa.
So that's how he ended a 14-year marriage. And I then was sitting in a community center shaking, trying to figure out what I was going to do. Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, 2 kids, no place to go, no money, no income, hadn't worked for myself. And I had to tell my kids what was going on.
Right.
So, fast forward through all of that, 18 months of really just one foot in front of the other.
Right.
Just survival every day. And what I'd done just before that happened, I had started teaching local entrepreneurs how to use Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn in their business. I taught myself how to do it for a little hobby thing that I was doing, and it was a lot of fun, and I was realizing I was really good at it. And so I had started teaching people how to do it for themselves, for their businesses. Because, this was back in 2010 when I started doing it. Most people didn't even know how to set it up, let alone what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? So I was doing that, and I did like one workshop a month, and it was just for fun. So when he decided that was the end of our marriage, and I immediately went, well, I have to figure out how to support my family. I don't know what to do. He left me with almost $1 million in debt as well. And I had to figure out how to put food on the table, let alone pay that off. So people started saying, I've heard your workshops are good. Can I have a workshop? So I started doing more and more workshops. People started calling me and saying, well, can you do one just for my office, just for my company, just for my business? Sure, I can do that. And then people started saying, I've taken your workshop. I still don't want to do it. Will you do it for me? And I just started saying, sure, yeah, sure. I have no idea what to charge. I have no idea what that's going to look like. I'll figure it out. And the summer of 2011, I took a program from the University of San Francisco on advanced social media. Learned a lot there about how to get started and figure it out. And really just spent a couple of years doing that, and every month was just trying to figure it out. And it wasn't a lot of fun, I'll admit that. It was a struggle, and I wasn't coaching, I was implementing and doing for people. And then about 18 months after that day, I said to my daughter one morning, I was feeling really upbeat and really motivated, and I said to her, this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to us, referring to that day. And I determined that day, this is something that will define us. Now we get to choose how we let it define us. Is it going to knock us down? And my kids were 6 and 10 at the time. So the question was, at 10 years old, did I want my daughter to be 28 or 30 years old, allowing choices in her life to be made because somebody walked away from her? Or was I
we have
gonna,
so much in common.
right? And so, that's the choice. Is that going to define her in a way that's going to make her feel like a victim forever and have her go, poor me, and make bad choices? Or am I going to help her, empower her? And my son the same as well. So then about 2 years, so like 2013, I hired my first coach, not really knowing that I was hiring a coach. I purchased a program he was selling, and he was a Facebook marketing and advertising expert out of San Diego. And so I purchased this program, and he really said to me, you've got to stop doing these other platforms, because it was just too much. I was, trying to stay on top of managing it. I was doing a one-woman show. He said, just do Facebook. And that's where I loved spending time. So I just ditched everything else and went totally exclusively Facebook in 2013. And I haven't looked back. Really, that was the best move that I could have made in my business, because there's enough bells and whistles. There's enough people on the platform. There's enough, opportunity there, and Facebook is always changing. So I don't get bored. My little squirrel mind doesn't get bored and always keeps me learning. Right. So, fast forward to about a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, actually, a mentor of mine who has an amazing Facebook advertising agency was running a program, and I had worked with him, and he came to me and said, would you coach my people in my program? And I said, coach them on what? What are you talking about? And he said, on Facebook. You know what I do, because we've worked together. So what I'm teaching them. Will you give them a 15-minute coaching call once a month, and I'll pay you to do this for them. They're paying him. And I went, really? That's interesting. And I discovered that helping people figure out how to do Facebook for themselves was so much fun. And I get so juiced up on that. Like, it's amazing to meet somebody who says, I've got a Facebook page, I've got a profile, I have no idea what to do with them. I've wasted so much money on Facebook ads, I don't know what to do. And to be able to break it down into steps and say, stop doing that because it's not what you need to do, and do these things, and to have them go, holy crap, that makes such a difference.
Right.
And from there, you know, I really, at first, I only coached with him. And then it's just been in the last couple of years where I started standing up and saying, yeah, I can coach you on Facebook. So I still implement, I
Yeah.
still have that side of it, but I'm more and more and more into coaching people that want to learn how to do it themselves and that want that work. And I tell you, if there's ever a day when I feel down or discouraged, all I have to do is get on the phone and teach somebody something about Facebook and have them see that light bulb go on for them.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, my whole day has changed, and I just love it. So that's the long version. It wasn't as short as I wanted it to be.
All right.
That's the long version of my story.
We're the chatty ones, so.
Just wait till we get together in real life,
Oh,
right?
yes.
And have a wine with it as well. Look out.
Or giant mug.
Giant mug. I wish I had my mug. I should have gotten mine.
Okay, so just a quick aside on that is, how the heck do you stay on top of the changing algorithms in Facebook? We always hear algorithms changed. Oh my goodness, and Facebook did this. These algorithms have changed. We don't even know what that means. Nobody really knows what that means. It just means Facebook changed their mind and did something different. So that must be.
Well, okay. Let me tell you a couple of things. You're right. Nobody really knows what the algorithm is. I think a few years ago they came out and announced about 1,000 different parameters that they take into consideration with the algorithm, but it's not everything. So who knows? And half the time I'm not even sure they know. So
I think it's just
if you take the number of times you hear somebody running around saying the algorithm's changed and do this, about half of those are bullshit.
I totally agree.
So about half of the times that you hear the algorithm has changed, it hasn't.
No, it's just they don't know what they're doing.
They just don't know what they're doing. And most of the people who say, you know, oh, the algorithm's changed, so make sure you comment to my post so you'll see my posts. They're the ones not doing Facebook properly.
Absolutely.
So Facebook has never been more clear to me than it is this year.
I actually agree with that too.
It's awesome. The things that have happened, that have changed, and what their expectations are way more clear. And, you know, Mark Zuckerberg came out in F8 and said, we found out we got more and more people, but we found out they're really being passive on Facebook. They're scrolling, they're not interacting, they're not doing anything. And that's of no value to anybody. And we want people to stay on Facebook, but have fun, be interactive, be involved. We want this to be the place that people want to go to have a good time. So as page owners, that's partly our job.
That is, yeah.
If we do that, then we keep people on Facebook. Then we have more people to market to. Right. And Facebook rewards us by making sure more people see our posts.
Yes.
So I have never been one of those people that's like running around going, the sky is falling, Facebook is out to get you, Facebook hates you, Facebook is against small business, you have to pay to play. It's all crap. There's the people saying that are either A, trying to sell you something, or B, just not doing it right.
Right. Okay.
Because, you know, I've got clients that I work with and I teach them stuff and I do stuff for them, and they're blown away at what you can do on Facebook to help them connect with their audiences without spending a fortune.
Good.
And just with a little bit of time and effort and kind of skookum Canadian social skills. I think maybe I gotta trademark that. Skookum Canadian social skills.
Yeah, totally.
Because that's really what it comes down to. I mean, would you go to a networking event and ask somebody a question and then walk away before they even answer you?
Right.
But people do that every day on their Facebook page.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one reason why, I mean, I'm there, right? Like everybody sees me every day, even if I'm on vacation, no matter what. I mean, I might be a little less, a little more, but I'm there every day, 7 days a week. Yep. And it's because I want to. I love it. I love it. Like,
me too.
The interacting, that's not work to me.
That's right. That's right.
It's not work to me at all.
So one thing we do, and here's a little free tip for you, is 80% of the time, and you're already doing it, so you don't need this tip, but 80% of the time, focus on engagement content that will get people to like, comment, and share.
Right.
And That's 80% of what you should be doing on Facebook, even on your page.
Yeah.
And only 20% of the time should you be promoting anything.
Right.
And the people who are saying there's no reach, nobody's seeing my posts, it's because all you're doing is promoting yourself. And Facebook says, well, nobody's reacted to your posts, so they must be boring. I'm not going to show them to anybody else because I don't want boring stuff on the newsfeed.
Yeah.
We want stuff where people are having fun and laughing and interacting, and you're conversing back with them
Right.
and having fun. So that's really the hallmark of, being like that. And if you are spending your time doing that, that's not a lot of work. That's a lot of fun.
It's just fun. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. So who do you serve ideally? Like, who's your ideal client?
Having done this for 8 years, I have worked with probably every single industry you can think of. I mean, especially at first when I really resisted niching because I had to feed the family. I'm going to say yes to anybody. So I've worked with industrial cleaning supply companies. I've worked with sign companies. I've worked with companies that took shipping containers and turned them into tiny homes. I've worked with grocery stores. I've worked with hotel chains. I've worked with a lot of coaches. Really anything under the sun. I worked with fashion clothing stores, authors, really, you name it. I've pretty much done it. The only one I haven't worked with legitimately is a pet store. And I'd love to have a reason to use puppies and kittens on my posts. That's legitimately their business, right? I use them, but I haven't worked with that client yet. But really everything under the sun I've worked with, but my preference is, and I hesitate to say it to you, coaches. I love coaches who get it, and who are ready to be social, who are ready to grow their visibility bigger than they've ever dreamed, who are ready to, grow their authority to the point where people are coming to them so that they aren't having to hunt. And my mission after my experience is all about helping specifically women entrepreneurs, although I'd say 50% of my clients are men, but specifically I want to help women work less and earn more so they can spend time with their families. They can, keep homeschooling if they want, or pick up the kids from school without somebody barking at them, or take a day off because the kid's sick, or take them on holidays and do whatever they want, right?
Well, because it's a beach day.
Right? And hey, I can make that sound like homeschooling.
Oh, we can make anything.
Anything sound like homeschooling. Exactly. There's a learning thing in anything, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, when that all happened to us, people said to me, well, get a job, put your kids in school, get a job, and that's how you're going to do it. And I've always worked for myself. So why I thought I could be an entrepreneur, I have no idea. But, well, I do know, because my ex-husband had always been an entrepreneur.
Right.
And for all he did, if I hadn't been with him, I don't think I'd be an entrepreneur today. I'd still be stuck changing jobs every couple of years, not knowing why I wasn't happy.
Right.
And I said, my kids have so much to adjust to right now. The last thing they need is to go into the school system when they're struggling, when they've been able to be leading their own experiences for as long as they have, to be away from me when what they need is to be with me after the trauma they went through.
Right.
And there's no way I can make enough money to live in Vancouver when I hadn't worked for so long, right? My schooling was outdated. I could probably have gotten a job in the field that I had a diploma in, but I didn't want that. Yeah. And I just thought, there's got to be another way. So we'd be out at the park and I'd be on my phone finishing up some stuff or responding to some posts or doing something, and it would take 5 minutes, and what's the big deal? And I thought that's what I want for so many people who are unhappy in their lives. I want them to take control of their lives and create the life of their dream and the business of their dream, instead of letting it being led by, I got a 9 to 5, I got to pay the bills, I got to do this, right? Being trapped in that thinking. So people who want to open their thinking is who I love working with. People who have some of those pieces in place, who've worked with clients, who have a program that they want to sell, who have a lead magnet, who have at least an idea of a lead magnet. right? I mean, people starting out are awesome too, as long as they are, can do the work that needs to be done
Right.
to get it done. So,
And they're action takers.
yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So what's something fun then that you do when you're not on social media and working?
Well, we love to travel. Travel has always been a big part. We traveled a lot more before my marriage ended. We've traveled more now. And every trip that I take my kids on my own, I just go, I did that. That's pretty cool. And that's the kind of feeling I want to help other people have, right? So we love traveling. Traveling is a great time. As I was saying to you earlier, I'm hoping to get back east in the fall. And there's our homeschooling adventure, because so much to learn, right?
Birthplace of Canada, right here.
Right. But I also love swimming. So water, anything around water. But at this time of year, swimming almost every day. I love it.
As you say again, right here.
Right. Oh, and seafood, shellfish.
Again, right here. So I think you need to come this September.
I think so.
It's the seafood festival and fall flavors. It's an entire month. It's the whole month of September. It's a celebration of food, and it's all like local, farm to table.
Oh, I want to come.
With the seafood, right?
Like, yeah.
Famous chefs from all over the world come and they stuff like that. It's like really crazy.
Really?
Yeah. And
wow.
the best swimming month because the water is the warmest.
I'm in.
So there you
go. Now, if only there was a Canadian coach meetup going on around that time.
I think I can arrange that. All right. So, okay. Maybe we've already covered this, but what's your favorite thing about Canada? Your most...
Oh.
And it's hard to pick one. I know.
Yeah. It is a tough thing to pick one. And I love how spread out we are and how the same we are, but we're also different. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like my thing too. Yeah.
Well, and you were saying that, and I went, "Oh, you have to listen to Heather's."
I got it.
She stole my answer.
Yeah.
But I've lived in BC. I've lived in Alberta. I've lived in Saskatchewan. I've lived in Manitoba.
Yeah.
That's as far east as I've been into Ontario. But the differences are so cool, and I love that. And I love that. I love how welcoming we are to the world and how we're portrayed in the world. Now, I traveled in Europe back in the 80s when I was much younger. And, the first question from everybody was, are you an American? And we'd quickly show them all our Canadian flag.
Oh, yeah. That's why I travel like everything Canadian.
And I worked at a pub in London for a long time, and it was a travel site, but a lot of localers came in the evening, and these guys were so nasty because they were sure I was American, and they were being really rude to me because they were sure. And just stuff that you didn't really respond to, and kind of things that they were saying to themselves that you heard. And so when I served them a beer after they really rudely asked me, I looked at them and said, actually, I'm Canadian. And within a minute, he offered to buy me a drink. And so he went from trash talking me to, hey, you're our friends. And I just love on the world stage that we're not hated, but I love how wonderful we are here too. And I love Vancouver because I can go skiing in Whistler and then surfing in the ocean. Yeah. I don't do it very often, but I love that I could.
Right. In theory, you could if you wanted to.
Right. That's one of the selling features.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So many things. I didn't pick just one. I just picked a lot of things.
Yeah, you snuck around that question. All right. Any last words for our watchers, listeners?
I'm thrilled to be part of your community. I'm thrilled to the Canadian side of it and have it just be us. So I think I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to connect with people, and I'm excited to be able to help more Canadian coaches really step out in that Facebook world stage. So, happy to connect with anybody who wants to connect about that.
Awesome. And we're very happy to have you. And Sherri-Lee has actually been with us since almost the very beginning.
Yes.
So, the whole year.
It's a very long time.
It seems like it, and yet a blink of an eye.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I remember joining last year, right when you had just started it, and I just thought this is such a great idea, and it's been so much fun to watch it grow, and now I look forward to help making it grow.
Absolutely. And we really appreciate you and having you here with us. And yeah, that's it for today, folks. So, check out SherriLee and her website, which is
Socialmediaminder.com, but it's going to be changing very soon.
okay. Well,
Because
we'll give you an
that's
update of whatever the new website is. And for now, check her out on Facebook because she's going to be there.
I'm always there.
Always there. And yeah, so everybody have a great day and we'll be talking to you again soon.